On the last interview, you have to do a pre-qualification call where you have to talk with a prospect, see what their use cases are, and then we pass it on to the AE. Well, he was supposed to email me some information that will help me prepare, and it never got sent out. So he was on the call and he was like, hey, we can do this call another day. If you don't feel like you're confident in it, but this is what you need to do. We're going to give you a list. And if you feel like you're able to do it, then you can. If you want to wait, then, it's my fault. We can do it. Me, I thought this was a test. I'm like, no, this is not normal. Like, I think you're playing me right now. They're just trying to see how adaptable can you be in a fast-growing environment. This would be a very relevant scenario, but he assured me that it wasn't. It was genuine and he really forgot. But what I did was I really got on there. And I'm like, no, let's do it. So read the information. They called me back about 15 minutes later. Went through the call, went through the script, crushed it. And soon we was done, he was like, yeah, okay, I want to make you an offer.
Landing a great job opportunity is sometimes very challenging. Breaking into tech and getting hired as a sales rep can be even harder. When I was applying to my first sales jobs, I also struggled with the unknown. What to expect, what the tech industry was like, and how do I break in? After years of being an SDR myself, I've decided to build something I wish I had in the beginning. My name is Stefan, and in the SDR Hire podcast, I interview successful SDRs and salespeople who share their stories straight from the trenches. Learn how they got their first job offers, how they succeed every day in their roles, and what makes them stand out in their organizations. We all have what it takes. We just need someone to remind us of the opportunity and give us a better chance for success. Let's get your next SDR gig. Hey, welcome back to the SDR Hire podcast. I'm your host, Stefan, and if you're new to the channel, this is a place where you can learn from top producing salespeople what it's like actually working in tech sales, how do you break in, what do companies look for, and how to succeed as an SDR, all for free. And today we get to chat with Angelo Applewhite, a BDR at a company called Jasper. So Angelo is a cool for a couple of reasons. First, he cold DM'd me to get on the podcast. So speaking of using SDR skills, but also he helps folks break into tech and tries to teach people the ways of being an SDR. And in addition, he's working for a very fun company called Jasper, an AI tool that helps you create written content. So let's just dive in. Angelo, welcome to the show.
Hey, I'm happy to be here.
Awesome, man.
Sure.
I just got to say, I loved your outreach message. And that's kind of how you got to the podcast. Do you mind if I tell everybody what the message was about?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So Angelo said, hey, Stefan, big fan of the SDR podcast and love the value of the content you bring to aspiring SDRs everywhere. Curious you would be if you would have any open slots available for 23. I'm working on expanding my personal brand, etc. Hopefully we can connect and possibly work something out. This was really cool. I loved it. I'm just curious, is it a part of a sequence where you're kind of reaching out to podcast hosts, or was it just a one-off? Be honest.
Definitely a one-off. I was actually listening to your podcast when you had Gabby on one of your episodes. And I do follow him on LinkedIn, so that was a great episode. And I'm like, you know what? I want to do that. So found out who you were from Spotify, found you on LinkedIn, and just got you the message. And now we're here. So it definitely worked out.
Super cool. Awesome, man. And I appreciate you for reaching out. I'm really curious to learn about you and your background. I think the audience is going to appreciate it as well. So let's just kick off with a little bit about your background and how you came across tech sales.
Okay. Yes. So I guess starting way back from the beginning, I operated an agency first, which was called Social. It was a growth marketing agency helping SaaS companies scale with paid ads. And so with running an agency, especially whenever you're doing everything on yourself, you are encompassing everything that an SDR has to do. Prospecting, that identifying the right messaging, that's doing the market research, that's finding icebreakers for email, that's warming up the email domain, and starting to blast your message out there, getting case studies, developing partnerships, and just pretty much that was the bread and butter of how I ran the agency. I did that for about 2 years. And then I started at a smaller tech company. It was an intranet startup, and it was called Haystack. And I tell people, it was a great company, great people, but they were still trying to figure their way. Definitely could say that. It was just I was the founding video at the company, so I was doing everything in regards to helping them build pipeline, developing some sales qualified opportunity, and with me, a manager and an AE. And so that was pretty fun for the time being. And then they let us go back in August. I was there for maybe like 4 or 5 months. And then they let me go. And the reason being the company started to kind of take a left turn. And that's the thing about the startup space. You can have several months or even, a year of sustainable growth. And then 1 month you just tank. And that's just something that happened. So I was out of a job, but the thing is I still had an agency on the side. So I was still able to kind of keep money coming in, do more outreach. The more outreach you do, the more potential cash you can make, and just keep cash flow going. So that definitely helped a lot. So after that happened, I started applying for a job on Otter. Otter is a newer website that is centric to only technology-based companies and startups. So that is where I created my profile, started putting more applications in. I redid the application, redid the cover letter, and I started putting in applications, and it was crazy. I got 4 offers from doing that. And one of the jobs was a company called Sloop. And I thought I was going to get in there. They work with like developer operations. And I got to the very last round. And me and my wife, we laugh about this all the time, but I got to the last round and then it was the radio silent, ghost. And I was so upset. So then I was like, you know what, let me just keep going. Because, whenever you're doing an interview process, it can get really discouraging when you're putting in applications and you're getting denied, or you're getting rejected, or you put in the applications and 10 minutes later you get the thank you for applying. You know what type of email that is. But yes, I saw Jasper come up on Otter, and
one second. One thing. Can you spell the name of the website that you're referring to?
Yeah, OTTA.com.
Okay, gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Please continue. So you came across Jasper. No, I was just making sure that everybody in the audience can just go there and create a profile. But okay,
yes,
gotcha.
Definitely recommend using Otter. It gets rid of the middleman. You don't have to worry about going through recruiters on LinkedIn, and it puts your application directly in front of the company. And these jobs are absolutely live. They usually stay live for about 24 to 72 hours before they kind of go to queue. But yeah, came across Jasper, and I was intimidated. I'm not going to lie. I was very intimidated because as an entrepreneur and as somebody who's been in the e-commerce space or in the agency space, I've heard of Jasper, and I've heard of Jasper when it was called Conversion AI. Yeah, it was called Conversion. And then they changed their name to Jarvis.
Okay.
And then,
I didn't know that.
Yes. And then they have a cease and desist from Marvel. So yes. And so whenever I first came on, I was like, hey, if Disney, if Marvel reach out to you, you guys are doing something right. And so that was kind of the telltale sign that, yeah, we have something really good here. And then finally they stuck with the name of Jasper. And that's where we are right now. And in the last 13 months, they went from 12 employees to we just hit over 200. So
Boom.
yes, we've been growing at a very massive hyper growth type rate. And we just crossed $1.5 billion in valuation that happened last year.
That's so
And I
cool.
think we're going to go through another round of funding sometime this year. But yes, I would love to just tell you more about Jasper. It is in the AI space, which is very, very hyper competitive. But yes, I've been rambling for a minute. That's a little intro of me. So yes, you can go ahead.
Yeah, no, all good, all good. That's why we're here, dude. We want you
Mhm.
to ramble about a bunch of things. But anyway, love the intro. It's very cool. You
Mhm.
said that startups can go sideways, they can go
Yes.
upside down, and I think that's just a normal thing. And especially when
Mhm.
I mean, like, in an ideal world, you have a runway, you have a plan that
Mhm.
is being executed, and everybody's safe and warm. But in reality, that's not the case, and simply layoffs happen, and people need to kind of be prepared in the startup world that those things can happen. But it's
Mhm.
pretty cool how quickly and how easily you bounced back. I think that goes back to your entrepreneurial mindset and type
Yeah.
of personality. I'm curious though, how come somebody who's like you said you were working with e-commerces, you were in the
Mhm.
agency world, like you're an entrepreneur. What kind of drove you towards going to back to being an employee?
Um, I am a individual that is really big on security. So even if
Gotcha.
I am making a good amount of revenue for my companies or anything like that, I like having that security with the job insurance. I have a 4-year-old child. Of course, I've already told you I'm married. So, they need, being an entrepreneur, it's fun. I love it, but it doesn't, take care of medical bills or anything like that. That's more like fun, play money, where I can take the wife a nice dinner or something like that, or just buy the boy every toy that he sees on TV every 13 seconds. But no, I really was somebody who just really wanted to have that security and kind
Mm,
of get that formal structure, like I guess path of what it really means to be an SDR or a
mhm.
BDR, it's the same
Yeah.
thing. And kind of just start to collect those job titles, collect the certification, and just collect that skill. It's a very valuable skill. And it's something that I can apply to, the, my companies that I've built out and launched now. And I've just been getting better week by week. Actually, I think one of my biggest accomplishments in regard to a meeting that I booked a meeting with LinkedIn itself, and that was absolutely insane. Um, and yes, I sent out a cold email to the marketing director of LinkedIn. It took about 2 or 3 emails, but he finally got back with me, and I think that ended up closing. So a lot of the content that you may see may be produced by Jasper. But yeah, that's very, that's one of my biggest accomplishments. Yes, sir.
Yep. Sounds exciting, and like I think you should brag on, definitely. Are you using only cold emails and like content, or rather like copy
Yeah,
to reach out?
yeah. So especially in the AI space, um, when I was being interviewed, they told me that they tried to attempt cold calling,
Mm,
but obviously because of the space that Jasper resides in, it makes more sense to reach out to prospects via, email or LinkedIn outreach. Cold calling doesn't really get the job done. We tried it, we attempted it, but it's not really, we've seen better results with cold email than
right.
anything else. And that was one of the main reasons that attracted me. It's me and another BDR on the team, and then it's the BDR manager. And he was just very, I guess, enamored of how I was building the agency out and how I pretty much designed my entire process to get clients, to secure partnership, and to really just get everything cranking. And from there, he was just like, I knew it was a no-brainer from day one. So that was about 4 or 5 different interviews that I had to do. But he pretty much told me, yeah, the second I saw you, I knew I was going to hire you. I was like, oh, okay, that's nice. But yes, yes, the interview process was very straightforward. And
Yeah.
what happened was, if my manager was here, he tells the story all the time. But so on the last interview, you have to do a mock PQC call, which is pre-qualification call, where you have to talk with a prospect, see what their use cases are, and then we pass it on to the AE. Well, he was supposed to email me some information that will help me prepare, and
Right.
it never got sent out. So he was on the call and he was like, hey, we can do this call another day. You know, if you don't feel like you're confident in it, but this is what you need to do. We're going to give you a list. And if you feel like you're able to do it, and you can. If you want to wait, then, you know, it's my fault. We can do it. Me, I thought this was a test. I'm like, no, this is not normal. Like, I think you're playing me right now. So yes, my mindset was like, yeah, this is a test. You know, they're just trying to see how adaptable can you be in a fast growing environment. This would be a very relevant scenario, but he assured me that it wasn't. It was genuine, and he really forgot. But what I did was I really got on there. And I'm like, no, let's do it. So read the information. They called me back about 15 minutes later. Went through the call, went through the script, crushed it, and soon we was done. He was like, yeah, okay, I want to make you an offer. So yeah, that was the biggest one. And soon he said that, all the other offers kind of went out the door, because I'm like, no, Jasper, yeah, that's where I want to be. So yeah, he made me the offer, and I started back in November, and I've been here about 3 months now, technically. Yeah, 3 months. And it's been a blast, dude. Just especially seeing that the work that you do actually have an impact. That's one of the biggest things that I do love about being a BDR, because you are on the front lines of sales. You are on, you're bridging the gap between somebody who doesn't know the company with the AE team or with the sales team in general. So yes, I love being at this company. I'm actually happy here. I could definitely say maybe at Haystack, I was happy because I didn't mind doing the work, but I guess because I was the founding BDR and I was still trying to find my way, I can definitely say that there was some uneasiness with the company, especially when they started making all these out of the woodwork changes. And I'll share an example. We were supposed to get a ramp up bonus. So usually as a BDR, you start, you have maybe 90 days, 60 days, 30 days to ramp up, which is where they kind of give you the lead. So they kind of put some fire under your butt and be like, hey, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to attain. And, they'll give you a little bonus, some money in your pocket. So you'd be like, oh, okay, this is something nice to do. Yeah, so when I was at the other startup, Haystack, the month came when my ramping period was done, and I did not get the bonus. And that was a red flag. I was just like, hey, what's going on? And so I had the document pulled up, I had the email pulled up. I highlighted when they said, hey, we'll give you X amount of money after the ramping period. I'm like, okay, cool. And when I asked him about it, it was like, oh yeah, we don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, oh. All right. So automatically in the back of my mind, I'm like, yeah, it's I'm not gonna be here long. 'Cause, you know, I mean, seriously, when you're working that hard and you putting your best foot forward and you're not being appreciated about that, it doesn't matter how much you like the job, it doesn't matter how much you enjoy the company. Eventually that starts to wear and tear on you because at the end of the day, you are human. So you like to be part of a process to where you feel like you're making a difference, to where you feel like you are a valuable member to the team that is making an impact on revenue and growth towards the company. So yeah, that was my caveat with the company. It was just a little weird, man. The people I met, I love them. They're great people. But it was just literally from day one, it was just like, yeah, okay, we're just going to book a meeting. I'm like, I just got here. I've been here 3 weeks. Y'all haven't a domain and nothing. Like, what's going on? I thought y'all knew this. So yeah, there was a lot of things where I came in and I had to tell them what to do. Like, hey, we can't just start sending out emails. We need to warm up the domain for 2 weeks. Then we can do a little social selling on LinkedIn. Until then, use Sales Navigator. But if we start sending out emails now, they're going to get spam or we're going to kill the domain very quickly. So we need to warm it up. So I was giving them a list of tools we can use, some software. We use tools like Lavender, LimWarm, which is Limless warming tool. And there's a new tool I'm using now called Instantly AI. I love them.
What's it called?
Instantly AI.
Okay, gotcha.
Yes,
Instantly,
and I love the tool. Yeah, and so you can warm up a limited amount of email. You can send out a limited amount of domains and campaigns, and just all around really good tool. It's actually where my company is built off of. So it's the framework that's built on top of Instantly. So yeah, that's what I've been working on so far. So yes,
gotta ask you this. So you're only doing emails. I think it really makes a lot of sense because Jasper is like a copy creation tool. It helps you, if I understand correctly, it helps you write any type of copy, whether it was whether it is an email, whether it is a cold DM, whether it is a blog post, an article, a website copy, whatever, right? And so it makes a ton of sense for it to be used as like you're literally using it to showcase what your product does through the emails, right?
Yes. So I still believe in human touch, human ingenuity. Yeah, when it comes to crafting email. So we are able to use Jasper to any extent that we need to use it for. But in regards to I guess personalizing the email, Jasper is a fantastic tool to use because he only read like 10% of the internet. So, you know, he knows a lot of information, and having over 80,000 customers make Jasper smarter because people can submit their input or the output that Jasper gets, and Jasper trains itself to be, I guess, client specific. Regarding to the workspace that you're in. So yes, we are able to showcase that. It's just now, I guess, especially this year, it's going to be very difficult to tell, you know, if a human genuinely wrote the email or written by AI. But I don't think that should matter because, you know, I heard a quote, and I think it's the most important thing I've ever. AI is still dependent on the intelligence of the user. So
that's right.
Yes. So if you give it a generic input, you're going to get a generic output. But if you're able to, you know, be creative, be innovative, and the prompt that you feed Jasper or any type of AI tool, then of course the results you're going to get is going to be pretty much outstanding. And I love that. But yes, Jasper is just, it's taking the AI world by storm. You know, we got some close competitors like AI, GPT-3, Open
I was just about to ask you, like GPT chat is now free. I know a lot of people who are using it to kind of make their emails better, whether it's cold emails, whether it's email marketing, newsletters and stuff. There's like OpenAI, obviously. There's like a bunch of things. So, and I know that Jasper is pretty expensive. Like, do you get a lot of, let's say, objections from prospects
Yeah.
specifically because of the price?
Yeah. Not really due to the price, just more like, chat is free right now. So
Yeah.
people are using the API to, do what they need to do. However, some of the counter arguments that I've been able to use is that because it's a free model right now, eventually some of the input that you're going to get is going to be very generic. Just because you have over 1.5 million users now using the product. And eventually OpenAI is going to package this up and put a pricing structure to it. So yeah, it's good now. It's a great product. I still use it. I use it myself. Not gonna lie. But in regard to the competition, Jasper is able to give you a myriad of templates that you can use it for. We got Jasper commands where you can literally tell Jasper what to do and it does it. We also just released a new feature called Jasper Chat. It just released
I saw on your LinkedIn.
Yeah. So Jasper Chat is still in beta right now. So it's still a nice product. It's fun to play around with. We still have some cake to knock out, I would say that.
That's cool. But like to your point, and like OpenAI becoming a thing of a price is I just saw the news today that Microsoft is in negotiation of acquiring like 49% stake in the company for like $10-ish billion, which is insane amounts of money. But there we go. Like we can probably assume, they will want to see a return on investment from that. So, it's probably a question of just like which month we're going to see OpenAI becoming a priced product at a certain point. But yeah, I love this space, by the way. I literally read about it every day. I use like, for example, there's a tool called Applewhite. Those guys are using, I think they're also built on OpenAI. I'm not sure. Like they're using AI to generate LinkedIn content, right? So it's a pretty cool use case. So I think there's so many use cases. I love this whole AI space of like creating content, and obviously Jasper is one of the leaders in the space. So pretty cool to have you on, especially today, like with these news.
Yes. Speaking of Tapilo, it's built on I think GPT-3.
All right.
So a lot of the products are. The way that it's explained to us is that GPT or GPT-3, it's like the chip maker of Apple. And Jasper is the company that create the iPhone, create the MacBook, create all the products around.
I love the analogy.
Yeah. So Jasper is built on top of the language model of GPT 3.5. And eventually this year is going to migrate into GPT-4, which I am super excited about.
What's that going to be?
So that is where, so I think right now GPT-3 has about 1 billion parameters of what it can do, what type of output it can generate, how intricate the outputs can be, in regard to what it can do with generating content. GPT-4 is going to have about 1 trillion parameters. So yes, think about Jasper on trend and steroids times 100. That's the best way I can explain it. And I think that's going to be a big reveal that may happen next month. Valentine's Day, we are having a generative AI conference in San Francisco. So I'll be flying out there to help close some deals and help nurture some new leads or prospects as well. But yeah, there's a lot of new things coming out of the work for Jasper and just for this year in general. And last year was just the start for us.
Nice. No, the whole AI space is really insane. For example, there are so many powerful tools out there. I mean, even the MeetGeek bot that I'm using right now, to record the session, it's basically,
Yeah.
it has a dashboard that's gonna like transcribe the whole thing, and then like I can look into it. I get analytics from it anyway. Like
Yeah.
so many cool use cases for AI. It's really amazing. But like I need to ask you, so is there a cool way that you've booked a meeting with a prospect or a demo with a prospect? And by the way, before you answer that, you said that you're doing qualification calls. So does the process for BDRs involve basically scheduling the initial call and then doing the qualification, basically like running the prospect through qualifications to make sure that it's a good prospect to send over to the AE, right? Is that on your
Yes.
plate?
Yes. So the way the BDR works for Jasper is a bit different than traditional BDR work, where they're just, booking a meeting and just passing it on to the AE. We are on the path to become senior BDR, and then of course AEs ourselves. So, but a way to do that, because Jasper has so much data, so much traffic, so many customers, it makes sense for the BDR on some calls with the client or the prospect just to see if they're qualified, because some companies or some entities will just benefit from the basic plans that we have. And now we are focusing more on like the custom business plans. So last year, that was a big shift where the BDR were taking the call. Now we, especially with Q1 and as we go forward, we're focusing on upmarket. So enterprise companies, 500 employees or more, and really start to put some big deals on the table with that one. So I'm very excited.
Yes.
Last year, we did a couple of calls, but I think you can definitely say that we're in the space of still trying to figure everything out. It's a big team, so we have like 4 or 5 different data points. Salesforce, outreach. What's another one that we were using? Salesforce, outreach. Sorry, and of course
As in
Google.
like
Pipe Drive. Not Pipe Drive. Chili
right.
Piper. Yes.
For
Chili Piper.
scheduling meetings,
That's been a
for like
good one.
scheduling calls, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
And so
Nice.
one of the things that we were going through was that it was hard to link when we booked the call and when that call was connected with the AE. And so that was the whole caveat that we was going through. But yes, that's the new process right now. And
Nice.
I love that because it's something different. It's not the same, hey, you got to hit your numbers. Like, no, we're still able to hit our numbers. In fact, surpass quota. But it's
Nice.
just, and the way that we do it is definitely different from most traditional methods.
And that's okay. And that's cool. That's why we have this podcast. That's why I love sharing different ways of how folks are getting to their targets and exceeding their goals and stuff like that. So, it's popular to like, hey, you got a cold call as an SDR, and that's all good. But there's so many ways that you can reach your target and reach your goals. So it's all good. It's all cool. Thank you for sharing that. So what's the most creative way you booked a demo or a meeting, if you can remember one? If not, we can just skip it.
So Jasper has a interesting platform called Jasper Art, where you can use AI, you feed it into a prompt and it creates artwork for you.
Nice.
And so one of the companies that I booked was an online learning platform called My Tutor. And pretty much they're a pretty big size company, over, I think, 6,000 employees. They're pretty big. And what I did was I created a kind of a graffiti, like dystopian cyber city like world, and pretty much use that picture, put it in the outreach, and was like, hey, this is what the future of e-learning is looking like. Just something very interesting, engaging, caught their attention. And this is what it could look like when we integrate e-learning with generative AI. And so I elaborated on that email, and that has been giving me some really cool results. That was the best way I booked the meeting. And that was actually pretty fun because we're we are not bound by creative like stuff that we can do. We're able to go full out, and that's another thing I love about being at this company is that we don't have to be, very restrictive on how we conduct reach, how we reach out to prospect, how we get meetings booked. As long as they get on the calendar, that's all that matters. So yes, the Jasper art thing was a really nice way.
That's a cool example. Awesome. Okay, so if you were in an interview right now, what are some of the questions that you would ask to the hiring manager?
So one of the biggest questions that I usually ask is, of course, what is the day-to-day of a BDR? And then, if you was on the outside looking in, what would be some of the skills a BDR would need to accomplish in order to be successful in the role? So that answer usually gave me kind of a framework to what they're looking for in regard to a BDR or a sales rep for their company. And what I'm able to do is kind of just reposition myself to fit that framework. And that's a big question that I ask. Also, whenever it comes to, I don't ask about quota just because I feel like if you start asking about numbers, and it kind of brings up a sense of uncertainty in a way. So if you're like, hey, what's your quota? And they're like, oh, okay, it's like 40 meetings per quarter. And 40? Yeah, like I just feel like when you keep going back and forth, it can kind of give whoever asking the question a sense of uneasiness, or just make them feel like you're not really confident in hitting that number. And so, that was one of my biggest questions.
I can understand that. It makes sense. Some of the questions that I've seen are probably in that ballpark, but I think I really understand what you're trying to say here. The difference, for example, is asking how many, for example, people hit quota in your team. For example, if it's a big team. Now that doesn't really compromise you as a person, but it reveals how good of a team the company actually is, and how good they are in getting their numbers. But anyway, awesome. These are really cool examples. So what would be your message to everyone who is trying to break in and become an SDR, or or just looking for their next role? What would be your message to them?
One of my messages would definitely be to be coachable. I feel like, don't try to come in being the industry expert or try to be the absolute, the boss at it, because of course managers want you to be coachable. They want you to be able to adapt to high moving situation. And that is the biggest thing that I feel like a lot of people who are trying to break into the space are failing at. They take these courses, they take all this information, and they come in and they hammer it. But I think they're hammering a little too hard, because you need to show that you're human. You need to show that you're going to make mistakes, but you need to also show that you can recover and bounce back from it. And that is something that a lot of companies, especially in the tech space, are really looking for. And more than anything, they don't really care how much you know, because most companies are going to train you anyway, or they're going to adapt you to their process and how they do or conduct things. And I just feel like whenever it comes to being in the SDR space, it is not an easy job, but it can be once you get your foot in the door, get your feet wet a little bit, and actually start, doing the hands-on. You can watch all the videos you want. It doesn't really do the same thing if you're actually in the field, sending out emails, talking, engaging, having conversations with people every day. And this is coming from somebody that's an introvert. Like, I do not like, going out and being so social, but whenever it comes to the job, I'm a whole different person. You wouldn't even know. So yes, just be prepared to, don't be afraid to go out and create new opportunities, to reach out to people, to send messages, or to create video outreach. There's so many ways you can, engage new people and meet people
Yeah.
every day.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, here's a good advice. If you feel like you're nervous or you don't feel like you're able to do that, just go out in public and just start talking to people. If you're standing in line at Starbucks, or, you're in an elevator or something, talk with the person right next to you. It can definitely help with developing your people skills, social skills, and conversational as well.
Mhm. Yep. I think that it's not talked about enough about how, you can be a total introvert and still crush it as an SDR.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're the living proof of that, but like, it's who cares? You like people think about sales in general, like, oh, you got to be an extrovert, you got to be like somebody who just opens the doors, but like just breaks down the doors and like barges into the room. No, you can still crush it. Just adjust the way you perform to your own
Yes.
personality. But anyway, I
Yeah.
love your suggestion there. Cool. By the way, so we're gonna jump into the rapid fire questions, but before we
Okay.
do, where can people find you?
So you can find me on LinkedIn at Angelo Applewhite, or I am on TikTok. I post content there at The Modern SDR, and of course on Twitter. I'm also dubbed as The Modern SDR on Twitter as my handle. So usually post about some of the things that I'm doing with the company, how I'm crushing it here at Jasper, and just some of the advice and tips that can definitely help up your cold email game, and honestly, you start getting more clients into the pipeline. So yes, that's where you can find me.
Sweet.
I don't think I'm missing anything. YouTube is coming soon. Right now, that's a work in progress.
Oh, there we go.
Yes.
Nice, amazing. Okay. Rapid fire questions. So what would you say is the best SDR learning resource?
Course Careers has a free tech sales course. You can literally type in tech sales course careers on Google. They have a free course that you can go through just to get kind of up to point and get the information you need to put it on your resume. It stands out, so that'll be nice to have.
I've seen a lot of people who like SDRs or other candidates who are trying to break in that are enrolled in course careers, and it seems like they are doing something well. I had one of their SDRs, BDRs reach out to me and be like, hey, do you want to sell courses on our behalf? I was like, okay, cool. No, but still, I think they must be doing something cool. So okay,
Yeah.
what would you say is the best SDR skill?
Having conversation, being able to break the ice. You don't have to make things awkward. Just make an observation, carry the conversation. That's it. Very simple.
Exactly. I love that. It's so simple and people always miss it. I hate when people start their emails with like, hope you're doing well, or, hope my email finds you well. Like, dude,
yes,
the only thing
no, it doesn't. like
all you have to do is literally find one thing that you notice and say it. Like, hey, I saw this and it's important because of this. And that's it. That's the whole email. Like, it's okay. All right. Okay. So who is the best SDR creator to follow in your mind?
Definitely want to shout out my boy here, Sharif Drexler. He is Drexler, I think. Yeah, Sharif. He's on Twitter as Sharif 2D, I think. Not Twitter, TikTok. And yes, he's posts a lot of SDR content or help you guys break into tech.
Nice.
And he one of the greatest creators out there. Next to probably Tech Sales Tom. I do like him on TikTok as well.
Nice.
He was kind of my inspiration to, okay, let's break the monotony and let's change careers, do something different. And
Nice.
yeah, love them both.
That's cool. Amazing. Okay. So what is your, okay, I think I know the answer to this one, but what's your, let's say, preferred outbound channel?
Email all day.
Yeah.
I live in
Yeah.
the inbox. So yes, email.
I love it. I love it. Okay. What is your favorite email opener, like icebreaker?
Oh, icebreaker. If I'm coming completely cold and I do not know any relevant information on the user, one of my favorite things to do is, hey, first name, are you familiar with generative AI? That simple. And so that's something they see on the subject line whenever they don't open the email. It's generative AI, what you talking about, and then open the email. Yes, fun fact: all of my emails have over a 90% open rate. So
Even that
every
one?
every campaign that I've launched since I've been here has about a 93% open rate with a
That's
7 to
seriously insane.
8% reply rate. Yeah. So
Very good.
yeah,
Very good. That's well, there we go. That's how you're staying on top of your quota. Like
yeah, exactly. So they
nice.
just get blown away every time. I'm like, y'all, it's easy. Just send the email.
I love it. I love it. Okay. What is your preferred call to action that you put in your emails?
Oh, one thing I like to do is, because I'm informing the lead, is opposed to learning more. And then whenever on learning more, I usually hyperlink that and put my booking link in there. So instead of
Hmm.
saying, hey, you want to book a call? I hate that. I feel like that's a little bit too much. I like to make the email more engaging. So I'll say either opposed to learning more, or are you interested in having an exploration um, session with me?
Session.
So, or
Gotcha.
let's explore Jasper together. And I usually hyperlink it with my um, booking link and do it that way. So yeah,
Mhm. Okay. Okay. So do you measure only the replies or do you measure the click rate as well?
yeah, CTR and the reply rate as well. Just because, a lot of emails have bots on them, so they
Mhm.
will open it soon. You send the email out just to make sure it's a relevant email. So we have systems in place that shows the legitimate open from actual like human opening the inbox, opening the email, then the AI will never block their account. And so that's how we're able to measure it. And so yeah, still 90%. So I'm happy about that. So yeah, we're
Nice.
doing something right.
Nice, nice. You obviously are awesome. Hey, dude, this was really awesome. I am so glad that you reached out to me. It was, I think, very informative when it comes to both, how to write cold emails and succeed as an SDR using only copywriting instead of also cold calling, and as well as deploying AI as much as selling AI. I think it's a very hot topic. I think a lot of people are interested in it, and I think this is going to be a very cool episode. So very, very glad you reached out. Thank you, man.
Yes, of course. I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me. It's been
Of
a
course.
very fun conversation. To hear me babble on about AI and Jasper. So yes, I've really enjoyed the opportunity. Thank you.
It was a pleasure, man. Talk to you
Yes,
soon.
sir. Yes, sir. Bye.